There are countries that impress you with size. There are countries that impress you with power. And then there is Italy, a country that seems to do something even stranger. It makes history feel alive. In Italy, beauty is never just beauty. A city square is not only a city square. A coastline is not only a coastline. A mountain is not only a mountain. Everywhere you look, there is another layer beneath the surface. Stone hides empire. Water hides trade. Churches hide centuries of ambition. Volcanoes hide the memory of sudden destruction. And even the most peaceful landscape can feel as if it has been shaped by human hands for far longer than memory can hold. This is one of the few countries on Earth where the language of civilization appears in almost every form. It rises in domes and bell towers. It drifts through canals. It glows in marble facades at sunset. It survives in hill towns, vineyard roads, ruined forums, fishing harbors, and villages pressed against cliffs. It even burns beneath the ground where the land itself still reminds humanity that beauty and danger often grow side by side. Many people know Italy through its most familiar symbols: Rome, Venice, Florence, pasta, fashion, cathedrals, sunlit coastlines. But Italy is not one image. It is not one era. It is not one mood. It is a country built layer by layer through conquest, trade, art, faith, labor, disaster, resilience, and reinvention. To travel through Italy is to travel through different versions of Europe at once. In the north, elegance and order move through modern streets and quiet lakes. In the center, art and memory seem to shape the land itself. In the south, life becomes louder, more exposed, more volcanic, more raw. And out beyond the mainland, the earth still breathes fire into the sea. This is not just a journey across a beautiful country. It is a journey across one of the deepest cultural landscapes in the world. And to understand Italy, we begin not in ruins, not in a medieval square, and not on a famous coast, but in a city that proves Italy never stopped moving forward. We begin in Milan. Milan is not the Italy many people expect to meet first. It is not a city that asks to be admired as a relic. It does not wear its past in the same open theatrical way as Rome or Florence. Milan feels sharper than that, faster, more focused, more modern. It is a city of business design, precision, movement, and visual discipline. If some Italian cities feel like living museums, Milan feels like a command center. And yet this too is Italy, because Italy has never been only about preserving beauty. It has also been about producing it, refining it, packaging it, sending it out into the world. In Milan, elegance is not just decoration. It is a system. It lives in architecture, in fashion, in public spaces, in shop windows, in how objects are placed, how streets are framed, how even the urban rhythm seems designed to communicate control. This is one of the great paradoxes of Italy. A country so associated with the past remains deeply influential in the present. Milan shows that better than almost anywhere else. It tells us that Italy is not frozen in history. It continues to shape modern taste, modern style, modern luxury, and modern identity. But Milan is only one face of the country. Leave the energy of the city behind, and northern Italy begins to reveal another personality entirely. The rhythm slows, The architecture softens. Water replaces concrete. Mountain light replaces metropolitan polish. And there, far from the urgency of the financial district, another version of Italy comes into view. Lake Como. Lake Como does not need to overwhelm you. It persuades in a quieter way. Here, the land opens into calm water, held between mountains' villages. Settle gently into the slopes. And villas appear not as intrusions, but as continuations of the landscape. The lake reflects everything back with unusual clarity, as if northern Italy were inviting the world to look twice. This is an Italy of restraint, of stillness, of balance. At Lake Como, beauty feels curated, but not artificial. Human presence is everywhere, yet nothing seems to shout. The towns do not dominate the shore. The roads do not erase the mountains. The buildings, gardens, and terraces suggest a long habit of living with the land rather than against it. That is part of what makes Italy so distinctive. In many places, scenic beauty feels accidental, as though nature did the work, and people simply arrived later. But in Italy, landscape and civilization often appear to have negotiated with one another for centuries. The result is not wilderness untouched by time, but a world in which human taste has become part of the scenery. Lake Como embodies that relationship. It feels aristocratic, but never distant. It feels luxurious, but never loud. It is a reminder that in Italy, refinement can be geographic as much as cultural. Yet even this serenity is only one layer of the north. Travel further into the highlands, and the softness of the lake gives way to something more severe, more vertical, more elemental. Mirror lakes in the Dolomites. In the Dolomites, Italy changes again. The familiar image of the country begins to dissolve. The Mediterranean softness disappears. The easy romance of vineyards and piazzas gives way to jagged massifs, icy air, and lakes so still they seem less like water than polished glass. These mirror lakes do more than reflect the mountains above them. They intensify the landscape. They double it. They turn stone into geometry, silence into presence. This is an Italy that many outsiders never fully imagine. The Dolomites reveal that the country is not only a cradle of art and urban memory, it is also a place of dramatic geology, a place where scale and light. Here, the terrain feels architectural long before any human building enters the frame. Towers of rock rise with almost impossible definition. Slopes collapse into deep valleys. Alpine lakes hold entire mountain faces within their surfaces. If Lake Como represents controlled grace, the Dolomites represent grandeur without ornament. Nothing here is delicate. Nothing here is easy. And that contrast matters. Because Italy's greatness lies not in one single kind of beauty, but in the sheer range of worlds compressed within one national map. From this harsh, reflective north, we move toward one of the most improbable urban achievements in human history. A city that turned water into a foundation and trade into splendor. Venice. Because to see Venice for what it really is, one has to move beyond the postcard image of gondolas and facades and understand the sheer improbability of the city itself. Venice was not simply built beside water. It was built within it, against it, through it. A major urban civilization took shape in a lagoon and transformed instability into power. That achievement defined Venice for centuries. This was not just a beautiful city. It was a maritime republic, a commercial force, a place where wealth, diplomacy, religion, and sea routes converged. Every palace facing a canal, every bridge spanning a narrow passage, every weathered stone wall carries some trace of that old confidence. But Venice is also a city of vulnerability. The same water that gave it life has always threatened it. Time presses here differently. Beauty feels inseparable from fragility. The city glows, but it also erodes. It floats in memory, but it also negotiates constantly with the physical realities of tide, flood, and decay. That is why Venice matters so deeply to the Italian story. It is not only an example of brilliance, it is a reminder that civilization itself can be precarious. Greatness does not always rise on stable ground. Sometimes it rises in places that demand endless adjustment, endless care, endless defense. And from Venice, where a great city learned to live with water, we move to another coastline, where human settlement had to cling not to a lagoon, but to rock. Cinque Terre. Cinque Terre looks almost too vivid to be real. 5 villages balanced between cliff and sea, painted in bright colors, and fitted into terrain that seems to resist settlement at every turn. At first glance, the place appears effortless, like a natural miracle of light and architecture. But look more carefully, and another truth emerges. Cinque Terre is beautiful, not because life here was easy, but because people refuse to leave difficult ground. That is the hidden strength of these villages. The slopes are steep, the land is narrow, the sea is close, but never entirely tame. Building here was an act of adaptation. Living here was an act of persistence. The terraces, pathways, and clustered homes speak of a culture shaped by constraint, where land had to be used carefully, where every structure had to find its place within the limits of rock and elevation. This is a recurring theme across Italy. Some of the country's greatest beauty comes not from abundance, but from negotiation with hardship. Cinque Terre does not erase the difficulty of its environment. It transforms that difficulty into identity. And then, from these cliffside villages of endurance, we enter a city where Italy did something even more consequential. It did not merely survive the landscape. It reimagined the human place within the world. We arrive in Florence. Florence is one of those cities whose influence far exceeds its size. It is not the biggest city in Italy. It is not the political capital. It does not dominate the map by scale. And yet, Florence stands at the heart of one of the most important transformations in European civilization. Because here, more than almost anywhere else, Italy became the place where art, intellect, finance, craftsmanship, and ambition fused into a new vision of humanity. Florence did not simply produce beautiful objects. It changed the meaning of beauty itself. In this city, proportion became philosophy. Architecture became a statement about order. Painting became a way of seeing the human being anew. Patronage was not only a display of wealth. It was a mechanism for shaping culture. Florence reminds us that civilization is not built only through armies and laws. It can also be built through ideas, through images, through the disciplined pursuit of harmony. To walk through Florence is to sense that the city once understood itself as a workshop of greatness. Churches, palaces, public spaces, and artistic traditions all seem to participate in the same larger project, the refinement of human potential. Here, the Italian genius appears not as a myth, but as an urban reality expressed in stone-lined symmetry, light and craftsmanship. And yet Florence does not stand alone. It belongs to a larger world, a surrounding landscape that gave this cultural brilliance its atmosphere, its materials, its wealth, and its rhythm of life. That landscape is Tuscany. If Florence is the mind of central Italy, Tuscany is its soul. These rolling hills, cypress-lined roads, vineyards, olive groves, and stone towns have become one of the defining images of Italy in the global imagination. But Tuscany is more than a picturesque countryside. It is a cultural landscape in the fullest sense, a place where agriculture, settlement aesthetics, and continuity have evolved together over centuries. What makes Tuscany powerful is not spectacle. The land seems shaped not only by nature, but by habit, by repetition, by generations of cultivation. Fields, villages, roads, terraces, and estates appear to belong to one another. Nothing feels arbitrary. The region carries an unusual impression of permanence, as if it has had enough time to settle into exactly the form it was meant to take. This is where one begins to understand that Italian civilization did not grow only in capitals and ports. It also grew in agricultural systems in local communities, in enduring relationships between people and soil. Tuscany expresses a deeply rooted version of Italy, one connected to seasoned craft memory and inherited form. And from this landscape of slow continuity, we move into the city, where continuity takes on a far heavier weight. A city where nearly every stone seems to contain an argument about history, power, and destiny. We move to Rome. Rome is not simply old. Many cities are old. Many cities preserve monuments, ruins, traditions, and sacred sites. But Rome does something else. Rome makes age feel layered, active, and still unfinished. It is not a place where one historical era replaced another cleanly. It is a place where eras accumulated. Empire, Christianity, monarchy, republic, tourism, traffic, daily life. All exist here in physical proximity. Rome is a city of superimposed worlds. First came the capital of a vast empire, a center of law, administration, engineering, conquest, and spectacle. The ambition of ancient Rome was inscribed into roads, forums, arches, baths, amphitheaters, and public infrastructure. On a scale that still shapes how Western civilization imagines power. Even in ruin, Roman space carries authority. It was built to project permanence. But the empire did not exhaust Rome's meaning. As imperial power receded, spiritual power deepened. The city transformed again, becoming a center of religious gravity, a place where sacred authority could rival political authority in scale and influence. In Rome, one form of universal ambition gave way to another. Then came modernity, which did not erase either inheritance. Instead, modern life was forced to coexist with both. Streets bend around antiquity. Motorbikes pass ancient walls. Apartment windows look toward domes. Cafes operate beside fragments of worlds long gone. That is Rome's true force. It is not merely a place of famous landmarks. It is a city where the past remains structurally present. History does not feel finished here. It occupies space. It dictates perspective. It insists on being seen. To understand Italy, one must understand that Rome is more than a destination. It is an organizing principle. It explains why the country carries such density of meaning. It shows how memory, authority, and urban life can become inseparable. But after Rome, the journey south reveals something different. The order and weight of the capital give way to a more exposed, more volatile, more intense world. And nowhere is that shift more dramatic than around the Bay of Naples. Naples. Naples does not hide its energy. If Rome feels monumental, Naples feels immediate. If Rome speaks in grand historical layers, Naples speaks in momentum, noise density, motion, and temperament. This is a city that seems to live close to the surface where urban life spills outward with less restraint, where personality fills the streets with unusual force. Naples is often described in terms of contradiction, and that is fitting. It can feel chaotic and beautiful at the same time, proud and worn, harsh and generous, exposed and theatrical. Yet those contradictions are part of its power. Naples feels less curated than many other Italian cities. It seems to reveal more of itself at once. And behind it always stands a darker presence. Because Naples does not live only with sea and history, it lives in the shadow of one of the most famous volcanoes in the world. That looming fact changes how the region must be understood. Here, beauty is not detached from danger. Daily life unfolds beside geological memory. To see that memory fully, one must go to Pompeii. Pompeii. Pompeii is one of the most haunting places in Europe because it does not feel like ordinary ruin. Most ancient cities fade by degrees. They are abandoned, transformed, dismantled, repurposed, built over, or simply worn away by time. Pompeii followed a different path. It was interrupted, stopped, sealed. That is what makes it so powerful. When Vesuvius erupted, the city did not simply decline. It was caught in catastrophe. Streets, homes, workshops, and public spaces were buried beneath volcanic material, locked away from the world that had sustained them. In a terrible way, destruction became preservation. The disaster that ended Pompeii also froze part of Roman life in extraordinary detail. And because of that, Pompeii allows the modern world to see antiquity not only as triumph, but as vulnerability. Here, the Roman world is not presented in marble idealism. It appears as something lived, something interrupted, something mortal. Pompeii changes the emotional register of Italy's history. It reminds us that no civilization, however sophisticated, escapes the instability of the earth beneath it. The people who lived here built streets, homes, baths, temples, and businesses under the same mountain that would eventually erase their city from the living map. That mountain still stands above the bay. Vesuvius, Vesuvius is more than a volcano. It is a symbol of limit. Human beings can organize societies, construct monuments, accumulate wealth, create art, and project confidence across centuries. But Vesuvius reminds us that civilization always exists within larger systems. It does not control. Geology does not negotiate. Time does not guarantee safety. Beauty offers no immunity. That is why the volcano matters so much in the Italian imagination. It stands over one of the most densely storied regions in the country, connecting Naples-Pompeii, memory, fear, fertility, and ruin in a single form. It is both destroyer and life-giver. Volcanic earth can nourish the land, even as volcanic force threatens to erase what people build on it. This contradiction is deeply Italian. Destruction and creation do not always stand apart. Sometimes they sustain the same landscape. From Vesuvius, the journey continues along another extraordinary southern coastline, one that seems suspended between mountain and sea, where the land rises almost vertically from the water. Amalfi Coast. The Amalfi Coast appears to defy scale. Roads curve along cliffs above bright water. Towns cling to impossible slopes. Houses stack themselves in pale layers, as though gravity had somehow been persuaded to cooperate. It is one of the most cinematic coastal landscapes in Europe, and yet its beauty becomes even more striking when one remembers how difficult this environment actually is. Nothing here is flat. Nothing here is easy. The Amalfi Coast is a lesson in how human settlement can become visually inseparable from terrain. Instead of leveling the land, people adjusted to it. They built along its inclines, accepted its limits, and turned steepness into form. The result is not only beautiful, it is structurally expressive. You can see almost at a glance how much adaptation was required. There is a long pattern emerging now across the Italian story. Again and again, the country reveals places where human ambition did not erase environment, but entered into a tense, creative relationship with it. Venice negotiated with water. Cinque Terre negotiated with cliffs. Amalfi negotiated with vertical coastline. But Italy is not finished with sea and fire yet. To understand the southern edge of the country, one must move farther outward toward islands where the earth still announces its power in the most direct way possible. Stromboli. Stromboli feels like the edge of something ancient. Out in the Tyrrhenian Sea, this volcanic island rises with a kind of stripped-down authority. There are no grand imperial layers here, no overwhelming urban density, no great museums of stone memory. Instead, there is sea darkness, slope, smoke, and the persistent suggestion that the island is still in conversation with forces far older than civilization. Stromboli gives Italy a different kind of grandeur. It strips away ornament and leaves elemental form. Fire within rock, settlement within isolation, human presence beside an active volcano. That refuses to let the landscape become fully settled in the imagination. The island feels less like a finished destination and more like a frontier between stability and eruption. In that sense, Stromboli returns the Italian story to one of its deepest truths. This country is not only a museum of the past, it is also a living geological space. Beneath its churches, ports, vineyards, and cities, the earth remains active. Not symbolically, literally. And nowhere is that more fully expressed than on Sicily, under the shadow of Etna. Etna. Mount Etna is one of the great presences of Italy. Large, restless, commanding, and impossible to ignore, it dominates eastern Sicily, not only as a volcano, but as a force that has shaped the region's economy, imagination, and physical environment for centuries. Etna is not a distant backdrop. It is part of daily reality. What makes Etna especially meaningful is the dual nature of its power. Like Vesuvius, it represents destruction, but it also represents fertility. Lava and ash can devastate, yet volcanic soil can also become profoundly productive. Life returns, agriculture adapts, communities remain. Fear and dependence coexist. This tension is essential to understanding Italy as a whole. Italy is often seen through its finished surfaces, polished cities, elegant villages, classical facades, refined cuisine, composed landscapes. But Etna reminds us that beneath those surfaces lie instability, exposure, and force. The country's beauty is not weightless. It is built in full awareness of fragility. And that may be one of the deepest reasons why Italy feels so compelling. It is not beautiful because it escaped difficulty. It is beautiful because so much of it was shaped in response to difficulty. By the end of this journey, Italy no longer appears as a collection of famous places. It becomes something richer and more demanding. A country where modern elegance and ancient empire belong to the same national character. A country where water carries memory, where mountains redefine scale, where villages cling to cliffs, where cities preserve the ambitions of whole civilizations, and where volcanoes continue to remind humanity that the ground beneath history is never entirely still. Milan showed us that Italy still shapes the present. Lake Como and the Dolomites revealed a northern landscape of quiet control and alpine drama. Venice showed what human ingenuity can build on unstable ground. Cinque Terre showed what endurance looks like when beauty grows from limitation. Florence and Tuscany revealed a civilization that turned both art and agriculture into form. Rome showed that power can survive as architecture, as faith, as memory, and as urban presence. Naples, Pompeii, and Vesuvius exposed the closeness of life and catastrophe. Amalfi demonstrated how human settlement can rise directly from the cliff itself. Stromboli and Etna returned us to the elemental truth beneath it all. Italy is not only built by people, it is also shaped by fire. That is why Italy continues to hold the imagination of the world. Not because it offers one perfect image, but because it contains so many powerful ones at once. Not because it is simple to understand, but because every region deepens the meaning of the last. Not because it preserved the past unchanged, but because it keeps the past alive within the present. Italy is a country where beauty was not added at the end. Beauty was built through time, through empire and faith, through trade and art, through stone and water, through labor and loss, through memory and renewal. And that is what makes Italy unforgettable.